What do you think that when we look at the actual root of the root, like if we can get down way to the bottom, Tina, these supplements actually help to heal? Like what are these supplements actually healing at the root, at the bottom?
Yeah. Well, I have to be really careful because it doesn't heal anything. I can't ever make that claim. It's really supporting your own body's gut health is what it's doing. But we have to, I mean, if we back up a little, we are, I mentioned we're 10 times more bacterial cells than we are human cells.
Yes.
We are bacterial microorganisms, our whole body. That is who we are as individuals. Yet we live in such an microbial world. I mean, we have
Right.
we're living in this world with, antibiotics, with glyphosate in our food supply. We're living in a world with stress and sugar and alcohol. And I mean, the sugar, all these things wreak such havoc on our gut.
Yeah.
And so we have to start removing those things for one. But, how are we going to do that? I mean, even when we eat the cleanest of the clean organic, we're still getting glyphosate in there. People
Yeah.
need, occasionally need to take an antibiotic. And so we're destroying our gut bacteria every single day. So what the spores do in Just Thrive is they go in there and they're rebalancing the gut. And so we did a study. One of the first studies we did was a survivability study. So we found out that our strains survive 100% in that, that pathway from the, mouth all the way down to the intestines. So that's the first study. The next study we did was a gut model study. And there's really only 2 universities in the world that do this study, but it's the way you simulate a gut and what a human gut is like. That study showed that these spores, after 2.5 weeks, showed a 30% favorable shift in the gut. So like the best way to describe it is if you envision a garden, and the garden is, there's plants that have been stepped on and trampled on, and there's weeds growing all over that garden. You kind of compare that to your gut. You've got good bacteria and you've got a lot more bad bacteria going on in your gut. So the spores go into that garden. They actually get there alive, 100% alive. They attach to the soil in the garden. So in your body, they attach to the intestinal cell wall. And then they have the ability to get rid of the weeds in the garden. So they have the ability to actually get rid of the, pathogenic bacteria. And then they have the ability to take those plants that have been stepped on and trampled on it and bring them back to life. So a really, really effective approach to your gut. So we're actually reconditioning the gut. We're going in there and making this lush garden in our gut. And one of the biggest, every health expert out there agrees that if you have a diverse microbiome, you are healthy.
Yeah.
That is what you need, is diverse. Diversity is so important. And we know that these strains are helping increase diversity. We have studies that show it. In fact, we have a study on the probiotic and our prebiotic together that's showing that it's increasing diversity by 30% with both of, just with the, probiotic alone is, tenfold. But then when you talk about the prebiotic, you've got it 30-fold where you're, really increasing the diversity in the microbiome. So the key is that these strains are actually creating diversity in the microbiome, which, really equals health.
About this HU36, like what the specificity is here and how it
Yep.
goes down in there, just so people can conceptualize it.
Right. So the really cool thing about HU36, bacillus indicus, is that it actually produces carotenoids in the intestines. So it produces alpha and beta carotene, lycopene, lutein, astaxanthin, zeaxanthin. All these carotenoids, antioxidants, are being produced in the gut exactly where they need to be absorbed. And so when the researchers did the leaky gut study on our product, they actually found that they know that oxidative stress is one of the major drivers of having a leaky gut. And they really believe that this HU36 was one of the reasons we had such success on the study and, or with the subjects of the study, because these antioxidants that are produced by HU36 were combating that oxidative stress on the gut lining. So it is really a really, really unique strain and really so effective. And it's really what's making the product stand out, from a lot of the other products out there.
This research about it going down and actually reaching the intestines, how old is this research? It's fairly new, yes?
Oh yeah, it's the first study we did our own study and that was done by a lab outside of Chicago, and that was about 6 years ago or so. But since then, we have independent third-party labs doing studies on our survivability studies, DNA studies, to make sure that what we say is in the label is actually in the product itself. And the one thing I just wanted to leave your audience with too is the whole alive thing. So we have to remember it's important that your organisms are alive. in your gut, not in the refrigerator. So that's really, really important. So there's a big distinction. Yes, having a live microorganism is the actual definition of a probiotic, but it's not that it needs to be alive in the refrigerator. It needs to be alive once it hits the intestine. So it's really important to distinguish.